Hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, and we are back for part 2 of my coverage, or part 3 of my coverage of the Project Pegasus saga. We did the first two-part, and then a story from Marvel 2-in-1. Hold on, I'm doing this from memory, 42 and 43. And now we're going to be covering parts. And then I did the first 3 parts of the Project Pegasus project, which starts in issue 53 of Marvel 2-in-1, ends in 58. We're going to cover 56, 57, and 58. We're going to kind of use the same thing. I'm going to do it issue by issue, give you some pertinent data from the fandom wiki and other sources that I have looked up, and then some synopsises and my opinions on each comic relatively quickly. So let's get started with Marvel 2-in-1 56. So let us look at the pertinent data on this book. First, let's start. I'm going to start with let's forgive this. So this comic was released on July 3rd, 1979, cover dated October 1979. I was just finishing 8th grade, going into 9th grade, and loving this. This is when I was putting together my first complete run of a comic, and this was part of it, Marvel 2-in-1, and I've said that story over again. So this one is a great John Byrne, Terry Austin cover. The fantastic team that would be doing, at this point, X-Men. But it shows Thundra punching Ben. Ben's arm's in a sling, and he's being pushed through the wall. It's great. I love these covers. These are great. Featured characters are the Thing and Thundra. Supporting characters are Quasar, Giant Man, and Wondar. So we keep adding more and more people. The Grapplers appear: Titania, Poundcake, Scream, and Mimi. Songbird One Day, Lethea, Nth Command, and Tom and Leitner. And here's the creative staff. Again, writers Mark Grunwald, Ralph Macchio, penciler George Perez. Woo-hoo! Inks by Gene Day. We're going to talk about that. Colorist Bob Sherman, Irv Wananabe is letterer, and Roger Stern, woo-hoo, and Jim Skalkrep are editors. Synopsis for Project Pegasus Part 4. Project Pegasus Part 4. The Deadlier of the Species. Following her defeat at the hands of Titania, Thundra has been forced into aiding the Grapplers in breaking into Project Pegasus for their employers and command, a subsection of a private company. As they break into the facility, elsewhere in the Pegasus compound, Ben visits the seemingly unconscious Wondar to express his guilt at letting the people of Project Pegasus experiment on him. Feeling tearful, the Thing leaves the room, unaware that Wondar has revived and forgives Ben for what happened. Returning to his quarters, Ben runs into Thundra, who uses force to try to prevent the Thing from stopping her. Their subsequent battle leads to the alarm going off, which brings Quasar and Giant Man to investigate the situation. Quasar runs into Lethea and Scream and Mimi first, and is at this point put on the defensive by Mimi's sonic scream. However, he manages to overcome the scream's hallucinogenic effect and defeat the 3 women with his quantum bands. Giant, meanwhile, finds Titania and Poundcake in the research center. His giant size working against him, Giant Man is easily taken off guard. However, Giant Man manages to turn things to his advantage and easily knocks the two confident Amazons. Knock out the two overconfident Amazons. As this is happening, Ben is losing his fight against Thundra. However, he manages to turn the battle around and he defeats her as easily as her comrades. And with Thundra and the other grapplers subdued, the Thing, Giant Man, and Quasar attempt to question him. The grapplers refuse to speak, and Thundra regrets that she cannot talk either because she has been honor sworn not to reveal what their plan was. Elsewhere in the facility, within the nuclear research module, Thomas Leitner has taken the payload brought by the grapplers and is busy completing the assembly of a nth metal projector, a device he intends to use to destroy the Pegasus Project. Another great synopsis from the fandom wiki. and I really do use it as I do appreciate it. It's a good source of information for me. One-stop shop. Also, I use Tomorrow's book on team ups, which is the neatest thing in the world to me. There's a book just about team up comics. I find that such a great thing. All right, so let me give you my take on this one. Like I said, I love the cover. It's a great cover. Thunder knocking him out. I want to talk about the art first. I don't know if this is the only time that Gene Day inked George Perez these 3 issues, but I'm glad he did because I love it. I think they complement each other. I think it's a different take on Perez maybe a little bit. I don't think it changes it too much. I just think they're very complimentary and I really, really like it. I'm a big fan of Gene Day from his Master Kung Fu. And, George is one of my favorite comic artists. But it's just great. The splash page has the grapplers outside. I mean, Perez just... You're getting exposition flashback because, they weren't sure if a kid was going to get the comic before. So we get a flashback. At least on Thundra's side of this story, because we keep adding more characters as we go along. This reads so well, these 6 issues. I mean, the 8 issues in the hardcover, because I've got the hardcover. I'm a huge fan of Grunwald's work, and I think Grunwald and Masha really nailed it. I think, is it maybe wordier than a modern comic? Yeah. But I think it's still one of the best 6-issue series that I had read up to this point, and still now. I mean, that's one reason I'm covering it. It just layer upon layer. So we get Thundra's take on what has just happened. It's a flashback of her losing. It's her being told by the big boss to go, rob this, take this payload in, and then we cut back to Ben. We get a quick flashback to last issue when Giant Man had to fight Nucleo. I do love the moment. Ben Grimm is my favorite Fantastic Four member because he's the heart of the team. He's a sweet, tough guy from New York. You gotta love him. I like that he's a softie. I'm reading Dan Slott's FF right now. I had read the first few comics, and now I'm reading the Empire. I've gotten to the Empire event, and I'm going to read that because that's where it goes, and I'm going to read it as an FF event, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. But I like what Dan Slott did by marrying Ben and Alicia, getting them married finally, and then having them adopt kids, because it makes sense. Ben would be an amazing dad. And that he acts like a father figure to Wondar in this. And I remember these coming out on the stand. And like him, Wondar, I never knew what they could do with him. I always thought he would be the kind of simple-minded adult that Ben takes care of. And I'd rather have seen him like he does. I was happy when what happens with him in this at the end happened because I thought it was good. So I like that moment. And I like how he has just the final panel on that page. He has Wondar looking up going, Ben, I understand. And Ben misses it. I think it's a great moment. It's a great moment. And then Ben, he's got his arms all, he's still wearing a sling, and he runs into Thundar, and a fight ensues. And that sets off the alarm. That's all one page. I'm reading the synopsis, and I'm forgetting that whole battle is one page. Then we get Quasar and Giant Man. These guys would have made a great team. Quasar, Giant Man, Thundar, and Deathlock. Thundra and Deathlock. And Aquarian. That'd have been a cool team. I guess. I don't know. Grunwald could have written it. I bet it would have been real interesting. But we have a great scene. I love scenes in Perez comics where the headquarters has been destroyed and the heroes are using their powers to repair it. You get a nice panel of that of Quasar and Giant Man melting metal, I guess, equipment into balls that they could more easily throw away. It's kind of crazy. And I like how Quasar runs in, catches Mimi and Letha. Um, and, he has superpowers. He has his negabands, but he gets the simple fighting what stops him. And then when he zaps, I mean, this is such. I remember reading this as a kid and just it blowing Perez's art every time. That's why I loved him when it first in his Avengers and then here and other, and then on the Titans. It's just seeing it all. That was, oh God, he's so good. The battle is great. Screaming Mimi's hallucinations, all the fight scenes. These aren't page. I hate it when they don't number pages. The letterer doesn't number them. The penciler doesn't number them. But it's a great couple-page sequence of Quasar. And, I mean, Quasar he's not a big deal, but he becomes an Avenger, and he gets his own book years later, Grunwald writing it. This is a great preview for him. And to try to rehabilitate Black Goliath, not rehabilitate, just not make him the exploitation character and just make him a superhero. And then his battle with Titanium and Pound Cakes is great. It's great. It's beautifully staged, wonderfully drawn. And then we get back to Ben battling Thundra, and that's a good 3 pages. And it's a knockout, drag-out fight. And they know it's over when all the others are captured, and then we go to Leitner. And then it's part 5. When walks Wondar. So that's it. I mean, it's a really good comic, and that was a great. They're getting better and better. But let's move on to issue 57 of Marvel 2-in-1. It was released August 7th, 1979, cover date November 1979. It is a George Perez, Al Milgrom cover. It's beautiful. Written by Mark Gruenwald, Ralph Macchio, George Perez, pencils, Gene Day inks, Bob Sharon. Colorist, letterer John Costanza, and Roger Stern, editor. It's a great George Perez cover. It's Ben's holding up a piece of equipment and buried, and he's knee deep in messed up. It's from the little train monorail that drives him around Project Pegasus. He's holding the car above his head, and him and Giant Man and Quasar are trapped under some rubble, and Wondar is in a little box. And the box says, also within this project, Pegasus, Wondar wakes. And this Marvel 2-in-1 is him and Wondar, the main characters. Oh, blasted by Claw, blinded by Solar, Ben, Quasar, and Giant Man battle on. We also get in this one, Electro, Solar, Dr. Leitner, they're the villains. And the synopsis for this one is The Pegasus Project, Part 5, When Walks Wondar. Following the attacks on Project Pegasus by Deathlock, the release of Nuclo, and recently the attack by Thundra and the Grapplers, Quasar, Giant Man, and the Thing believe that someone within Pegasus must be helping these attacks and put the base on alert. Thing goes off to try to question Thundra again, hoping to be able to talk her into explaining what exactly happened. As the Thing questions Thundra, Wondar has once more awakened and has begun walking the halls of Project Pegasus. The alien man-child's energy dampening power absorbs the nearby power sources he passes, and he unwittingly frees Solar from his cell. When Solar finds his powers cannot harm Wondar, he decides to free some of the other criminal captives and try to find a way out. He first tries to recruit Electro, but finds that the villain is all bandaged up following his last battle with Spider-Man, and leaves the electricity-based villain. As Solar continues to look for an ideal ally, Quasar and the other heroes have the computer log sifted through, and the computer determines that the only Project Pegasus employee that has been seen in the areas of all the attacks is Thomas Leitner, which does not surprise the Thing. Meanwhile, Solo bursts into Claw's holding cell and finds Cell and is furious to find only Claw's sonic claw and furiously throws it against the wall. This causes Claw's body to reconstitute and regain consciousness. As Solar and Claw plan their escape, Quasar, Giant Man, and the Thing go looking for Leitner. Leitner himself is finished with the Nth projector However, instead of using it to destroy Project Pegasus like his masters intended, he hopes to restore his Black Sun powers and targets on himself with unexpected results. The heroes end up running into Solar and Claw, and a brawl happens between the two groups. Solar attempts to fight Quasar one-on-one, but finds himself helplessly overpowered. Meanwhile, Wondar has made his way to the room where the Cosmic Cube has been stored, while at the same time the Thing and Giant Man manage to overpower and defeat Claw. After the villains defeated the defeat by the three superheroes begins to contemplate how the two crooks managed to escape their cells. Unfortunately, they fail to notice Claw reviving, and the Master of Sound manages to knock them all out with a powerful sonic blast. With the three heroes knocked out, Claw aims his sonic claw at Thing's temple to fire at point-blank range, destroy his longtime nemesis once and for all. So that is the synopsis from the Fandom Wiki. Let's just hop into this. This has one of the best splash pages, one of my favorite splash pages of all time. It's a very George Perez splash page. It's down at the bottom under a green dome are all the main staff members of Project Pegasus and three superheroes, Thing, Quasar, and Goliath. And above them are all these monitors with people walking around. It's such a Perez. It's got everybody's face in these screens, and then the two of the lower screens have the credits by Mark Grunwald and Ralph Macchio, art by George Perez and Gene Day. It's just a great one. I'm going to post that one on the socials. And then the next two is a double page spread from inside the dome. It is just freaking amazing, man. And the colors are good. Thunder's cage, all the different cage. It's just, everybody's drawn well. Perez makes every costume look great. Even ones, I've never been a fan of Wondar's costume, but he makes it look great. Solar's looks so much better when he draws it. And I love, it's just every bit of it is so good. There's a moment where he's talking to Thunder because she's his friend. And I remember, I always hated that she kind of disappeared after some of the 70s stuff. And that, even did Byrne have her in? I don't think he did. She did come back during Englehart. I think it's during Englehart era. And I like her as a character. I'd like to see her used more. I think you could update that kind of feminist warrior thing instead of looking for a mate thing, but just not understanding this world from a different point of view, to where women and her, I don't think women, I think women are still, they're written as second-class citizens sometimes back here. And it was very much, she was to show that women's liberation. And as a bunch of white, average Joes doing it as best as they could tell that story. I'd like to see someone use her. I think you could use her in a more modern context, and she'd be a great lead character or in a teen book, be an integral part of a teen book. I think there's stuff there because it's here. She's their Amazon. If you can do Wonder Woman, you could do Thunder a little bit like that too. But I do like how it's all the people are wandering around doing different things. You got Wonder allowing things to be broken out. I like that they have the Electro does not need to be in this story, but having him go through and find one, Solar run into him, Electro not use him, but he's just there to tie in other continuity. So if you're reading Spider-Man, when this has kind of happened. Continuity was not that. It's only 15 years old here, or no, it's 15 years old here. So you could play with it more. Now it's, oh good God, 80 years on, or 60 years on from when all this was written. It's insane. But Solar going through is really neat. It's just, I'm liking everything. All the things that, like in the synopsis of him getting out, we got Lightner. You've got all this stuff moving around all over, leading to, and for this comic, it's the big battle. It's getting people into place. You you've got Wondar coming. Something's going to change with Wondar. This is focused a little about Wondar, but Wondar's just kind of walking through, getting to where he needs to be. Ben and the other heroes are trying to figure out the mystery, and they figure it out by process of deduction and they figure out it's Lightner. But you've got Solar and Claw freeing people, which causes chaos. So you can, one, have a fight scene, but it allows Lightner time to do what he's going to do. Set up the projector. And he was Black Sun in Marvel 2 and 121, which I do not remember, but I've got the 3 epics. I'll read it one day because, these were disposable. But having, a wounded Claw or regaining his energy and Solar on the little mini train tracks underneath as Quasar stops him. And then it becomes a chase scene. Like in Indiana Jones, the second one. So in Temple of Doom. Yeah, it's like the Cars thing, and you have Ben and some guards and Giant Man and Wendell crash. And I like that. There's Ben, because the bad guys are still on the tracks and getting away. Ben just lifts up the 2 because it's like a train that runs on 2 round tracks. It's with clamped on it, kind of like a monorail, but it's a duo rail or whatever you call it. And he just uses them like whips, chucks them. Quasar knocks Solar out pretty quick. I like that. And Thunder, what gets me is Thunder finds the Cosmic Cube room, and it's just 4 panels at the bottom of the page. And then we get back to the fight scene. And Ben, Claw knocks out Wendell, and Ben and Giant Man are banging on a sound force field. And Ben goes, no, don't pound on it. Listen, from a voice of experience. And he just all he has to do is push his finger slowly through it, and it comes through. The banging makes it stronger. So they defeat him, but then he defeats them right after. It's kind of like he's knocked out for 3 panels. He's literally knocked out for 3 panels, and then he knocks him back out. But it's fine, because you're getting all this stuff. You're getting all the players in place. You're introducing some more cool-looking characters. You get another good fight scene, and it's a really good fight scene. And now we're going to go into finale, which is issue 58. So we're going to move quickly. I'm not speeding through these. It's just trying to give you my point of view on them, and that the moments in these books. So Project Pegasus Part 6 is in Marvel 2/158. Another great George Perez cover. Oh my God. It's George Perez, Terry Austin, and Gaspar Saladino. I guess Saladino, is he the... It's just great. And you got all the heroes that are now Ben's kind of in this team. Ben's accidentally put together: Quasar, Giant Man, Aquarian, the new name for Wondar, and Thundra. And you see Lightner in the back. He's like a living black hole, but he's glowing. The main characters are the Thing, Aquarian, which is the new name for Wondar. Supporting cast: Thundra, Quasar, Giant Man, Pegasus, Claw, Nth Man, Rocks and Oil. We all knew it was them. Project Pegasus. Let's get to this synopsis. Project Pegasus Part 6, to the nth power. Claw has the Thing, Quasar, and Giant Man at his mercy and is about to blast the Thing at point-blank range when he suddenly discorporates. If I'm pronouncing that word right, and probably not, and is shunted back into a sonic claw. This has been caused by Wondar, who has now achieved a normal intellect and is calling himself Aquarian. When the Thing arrives, Aquarian explains to Ben that he has undergone the change after a second exposure to the Cosmic Cube. With the help of Project Pegasus security staff, Ben and Wondar take Giant Man and Quasar back to the infirmary. There, Aquarian explains to Ben that he has detected a disturbance in the very fabric of reality. Taking the Thing down to the lower levels of the Pegasus Project, they find Thomas Lightner has transformed into the nebulous Nth Man, a human-shaped sentient void that is literally sucking all of reality into itself. Nth Man explains his plot to the two of them and his intention to absorb all reality. Aquarian then tries to stop Lightner by using his energy dampening powers, which succeeds only in turning off the power in Project Pegasus, including the energy bars of Thunder's holding cell. As Wondar continues and tries to stop Nth Man, Quasar and Giant Man revive and meet up with Ben to see what they can do. They soon are also joined by Thunder. Quasar tries to first stop the creature with his quantum bands. However, this has no effect as Nth Man can absorb even its massive energies. Giant Man then decides that he's going to sacrifice himself to save the universe, hoping that his size powers plug the Nth Man. When the others try to stop them, Giant Man reveals that he had contracted terminal cancer from his encounter with the Atom Smasher and that he is doomed to die anyway. He jumps into the Nth Man. This ploy also does not work, and in a desperate measure, Aquarian jumps into Nth Man, hoping his powers can work from the inside. This works in the hero's favor, and Aquarian and Giant Man are pulled out of Nth Man as Aquarian's very own powers cause Nth Man's absorption to reverse, shunting the menace off to another reality. Although they are victorious, Quasar grimly wonders if their victory over the Nth Man was doomed some other reality in the multiverse. With the battle over, Ben decides to return to the Fantastic Four and bids farewell to everyone, including Wondar, who decides to venture on his own and try to bring peace to Earth. The Thing departs, leaving Bill to try to find a cure for his illness, Quasar resuming security detail at the project, and Thunder going to investigate who her mysterious employers were. Unknown to all, the masterminds behind the attacks of Project Pegasus is none other than Roxxon Oil Company, hoping to stop the project in order to prevent a discovery of perpetual fuel source that might cut off their own profits. However, the CEO of Roxxon writes off this failure as his organization has more lucrative measures in place that will soon come to fruition. That was a little longer one, but it was a good one. So now we get the final act. I like the splash page in this one is Ben on the ground with Claw pointing his sonic cannon at him, and then on the side it says, you got to start with head bubbles, and it says Part 6, Project Pegasus, starring The Thing, Quasar, Giant Man, Thundra, and introducing the Aquarian. We have pretty basic. These are more, I think, look more like Gene, but you have heads. You have Thing's head, Quasar's head, Giant Man's head, Thundra's head, and then a question mark for the Aquarian. Because if you had not read this before, you wouldn't know who Aquarian was at the point. But Claw's about to ready to kill him, and then he just sucked back into his helmet, and Ben wakes up. So they knock him out. The three heroes knock him out. He's out for about 3 panels. Then he's back, and he's knocked them back out. Then he's about to kill him again, and then he's sucked back in. So that's all really a page and a half of, 2.5 pages if you count the splash page. Very funny. And then we get the flashback of what happened to Wondar and his walk through, and they turn it into 4 panels. It's great. It's I'm reading this in the hardcover, but I remember reading it issue to issue where you have, it's like when you watch the serialized recap. I like these recaps. Again, the Perez art. No one can draw background machinery like he can. He's Kirby level. He's Kirby level. And as they go, what I like is Aquarian is carrying Giant Man and Ben's carrying Quasar. And it's kind of funny because the big guy is carrying the little guy and the little guy's carrying the big guy. But it looks great. And they're coming around, but they're a little woozy. And Aquarian and Thing run back to find out what Lightner's done. And the way that Perez does it, there's the cutout of a person with a black trim, and it's just sucking all the machinery in. And then Ben gives you a little rundown of his history of how they met him when he was Black Sun. He was a surgeon. He came to work here in Nth Metal, but you see a little exposition, but it's the way Perez does it. It's a layover, these round circles that form up like an arrow pointing out over top of what's really happening. Oh, that's Lightner is telling him what's going on. He gives you, it's a lot, it's wordy, but the boxes are placed strategically, and Perez does some nice storytelling with having different kind of panel layouts and formatting. It's just great. He jumps all over the place, but he This is I like seeing this early in his career because you see a lot of this stuff later. Aquarian tries to use his powers, but as I said, it was great because all the heroes end up at the end, and they're all wondering who's going to save the day. Quasar tries, and then Giant Man jumps in, and then Aquarian jumps in, but Ben's holding on to him, and he sees this negative version of Giant Man, and it looks like it's driving him mad. And then Perez does Ditko, Disco or Starlin's Void stuff, and they saved, and it's like it's a chain. Thunder's holding on to Machine, she's holding on to Quasar, he's holding on to Ben, Ben's holding on to the guys that are in the Nth Man. And once they pull them out, poop, it's all good. Queer and Ben have a hug. It's nice. These are great, man. All of these have been a lot of fun. But I just like how it's just the storytelling is so good. The layouts, Prez. And I like how the first half is Byrne, and it's wonderful. And then it's Prez Day. It's Byrne Senate, and then Perez Day. It's just... they're night and day, but it still works. I think the art is some of the biggest thing that makes me like it. And the writing. I'm a big Mark Grunwald fan. This is wordy, folks. It was written in 1979. There's a lot of exposition. There's a recap between chapters. But if you can find them, I got the hardcover for this and the Serpent Crown stuff. Pretty cheap, which is nice. And I had the Invaders stuff, but that is all that's in my Invaders Omni, so I sold them. But when this comes, this would be in the next epic. Both of the hardcovers would be in the next epic. The first three are out, and it's great, folks. Get them. The Marvel Team Up's coming out in an Omni before an epic. They're doing them backwards. I don't know if I'll wait for the epics or get the Omni because I love these Team Up books, and I'm getting my first DC Finest one is coming out. It's reprint this stuff. But these are great stories, and I think this is probably the best. This and the Serpent Crown one, which I've not read in a long time, so I'll probably kind of continue and do that. I think I will. I'm gonna stay in this little menu of Marvel 2-in-1 and the big arcs, and cover that very soon, because this is great. These characters are great. These characters, I think, if Grunwald had pitched it, he could have revived the Champions and used these guys, or just do a book about Project Pegasus, and they go out and battle energy creatures or things like that. Or, hey, this hero's got a power. We want to examine it or explore it. So something like that. It might have been a great book. These are really good characters, and if you'd gotten Perez or Byrne to draw it, it would have sold like hotcakes. So, hey, how's hindsight for me looking back from 2025 back to 79? Yeah. So... all right, folks. Thank you for listening. Hey, my recommendation this week is, if you haven't watched... I'm not big on the serial killer shows, but I've been intrigued by Happy Face, Dennis Quaid playing a very creepy serial killer, and Annabelle Ashley, I think is her name. Let me look it up, so... I'm probably getting it really wrong, but she's a Broadway star, and she is absolutely a joy to watch act. I saw the trailers, and it was making me intrigued, and I don't do these serial killer shows or murder mystery shows. The commercials got me, and I like Quaid as an actor. It's Anna Lee Ashford. She just did. She's played Glinda in Wicked. She was playing the female lead in Sweeney Todd with Josh Groban, and I saw her. She's great. She's done some TV and stuff like that. I've seen her, and I recognize her, and I knew I recognized her. She is amazing in the show. You should check it out. Me and my wife watched the first episode the other day. All right, folks, as always, thank you for listening. Please keep up the support. Please reach out to me on socials. I'm on the major ones. We are no longer on Twitter. I had to leave Twitter. I found it to be in a repugnant. It just got worse and worse, and it was just awful. So I'm on Blue Sky, following, sharing what I'm reading, what I'm thinking. I'm talking about some Star Trek stuff right now. I hope you're following that. But check us out there, Instagram, Facebook, or Mastodon. We are there, and also Threads, because that's all tied together. And we look forward to... Wait a minute. I was about to do my Gallifrey's one. Just remember, be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another in these trying times. And read some team-up comic.